Further discuss the development of virus, from elk cloner virus to my Doom virus. Who created them? How were they created? Impact of the virus during the reign and the aftermath. What were the solutions and actions plans created and implemented? Timeline of my Doom virus. 1949. No viruses or worms are developed, but theories are developed regarding self-replicating programs that produce viruses and worms. 1966. John von Neumann wrote and published an article, Theory of Self-Replicating Automata. The basis for this was a lecture he gave on this theory 18 years before him. 1971. His The Creeper Worm by Bob Thomas was an experimental program that replicated itself. The virus infected his DEC PDP-10 computer running the 10X operating system. Reaper was later developed to remove this virus. 1974. A virus called Wabbit keeps making copies of itself fast enough to clog system. The computer system will eventually crash. 1974 to 1975. John Walker created his animal for his Univac 1108. It became known as one of the first malicious Trojan horses. It is spread to other Univac when computer users discovered the game due to overlapping permissions. It was also spread by sharing tapes. His John Brunner, novel titled Shockwave Rider, coined the term worm to describe a particular program that propagates itself through his network of computers. 1981. Elk Cloner. For Apple II systems is developed by Richard Skrenta. It infected Apple DOS 3.3 and is spread to other computers via floppy disk transfer. The Elk virus was the first computer virus in history to cause a large-scale outbreak. 1983. Frederick Cohen used the term virus in completing his thesis to describe when certain computers program are able to self-replicate and thus infect other computer programs. 1986. Two programmers in Pakistan discovered a way to replace executable code in the boot sector of a floppy disk, also known as brain boot sector. And even Pakistani Splu was the first his IBM PC virus. 1987. A virus called Leahy emerged from Yale University and infected the command.com file. I was stopped immediately. Cascade was the first encrypting file virus that inspired IBM to develop an antivirus product. A virus found in Jerusalem called the Jerusalem virus was activated only on Friday the 13th of each week before infecting and destroying all executable files on the computer. This sparked a global epidemic a year later. A boot sector virus called the SCA virus, developed especially for his Amiga, soon caused conflicts among virus writers. The SCA virus released a more destructive and malicious virus and became known as Byte Bunny. Another virus that was MyDoom propagated by attaching itself to emails with subject lines like error, mail delivery system, test, or mail transaction failed. When the infected code is executed, the worm immediately attempts to propagate by sending an infected email to every user in the infected machine's address book, and by copying itself to a user's KZA, a peer-to-peer file sharing network shared folder. MyDoom was named by Craig Schumacher, an employee of computer security firm McAfee and one of the earliest discoveries of the worm. MyDoom spread itself through an infected email attachment to a message with subject line error, mail delivery system, test, or mail transaction failed. MyDoom, the deadliest computer virus outbreak in history, caused an estimated $38 billion in damage in 2004. But the real cost adjusted for inflation was $52.2 billion. Also known as Novarg, this malware is technically a worm that is distributed via bulk email. At one point, the MyDoom virus encountered for 25% of all emails sent. MyDoom scraped addresses from infected machines and sent copies of itself to those addresses. In addition, these infected computers became part of a network of computers called botnets to carry out distributed denial of service or DDoS attack. These attacks were intended to bring down the targeted website or server. MyDoom is still around today, generating her 1% of all phishing emails, considering 3.4 billion phishing emails are sent every day. This is no small feat. With that number, MyDoom started a life of its own, infecting poorly protected machines to such an extent that it sent out 1.2 billion copies a year, 16 years after its creation. A bounty of $250,000 was offered, but the creator of this dangerous computer, his worm, was not arrested. Next, you shouldn't open the attached file if you receive MyDoom. Make sure your antivirus signature files are up to date for the greatest malware prevention. A personal firewall will also stop the virus creator from accessing your computer remotely. That's all. Thank you.
I'm Ronald Romer Garcia. Number 2. Who is Ankit Padya? Contributions and influence with the development of viruses. Ankit Padya is an Indian independent computer security consultant. He is a best-selling author who has written 14 books, delivered more than 1,000 talks in 25 countries, received numerous awards, has trained more than 25,000 people globally, offers scholarship and awards to students, and advises corporates on cybersecurity issues. Ankit Padya was born in Coimbatore on May 24, 1985. When he was 12, he was given a computer. He claims that he became interested in hacking after a year of playing video games. At the age of 14, Padya launched the website hackingtruths.box.sk, which he claims attracted a larger number of readers, prompting him to write a book. Macmillan India published his first hacking book, Unethical Hacking. This was a best-selling book at that time. His hacking skills gradually improved, and he considered using them for the benefit of the people. That's when things changed and he decided to pursue a career in ethical hacking. Ankit Padya is now known in India as a renowned ethical hacker. The book was well received in India, and Padya became well known there. He was, however, charged with plagiarism when a foreign reviewer claimed that the book contained a tutorial that was plagiarized from another website. Padya responded by saying that he contributed the material to the website that was identified as the source. Following the success of his first book, Padya became in high demand among corporate clients in India, as well as on the conference speaking circuit. He wrote more books on computer security and gave several seminars in Indian schools and colleges. He also established a consultancy in Malaysia. In collaboration with Reliance World, he began offering his computer security courses, including the Ankit Padya Certificate Ethical Hacker Program. The IMT Ghaziabad Center for Distance Learning signed a memorandum of understanding with Padya in 2008 to organize its one-year postgraduate diploma in cybersecurity. In 2009, Padya stated that he was working as an internet security expert for prestigious companies. In New York, Padya also endorsed Arvind Mills Flying Machines jeans brand. Some security and cryptography specialists viewed Padya as a fad and blamed the media's lack of technological literacy for his popularity. Padya has responded to those who doubt his expertise by claiming, "If I had been a fake, my growth would have ended 10 years ago." Here are some of his books: An Official Guide to Ethical Hacking, An Ethical Hacking Guide to Corporate Security, An Ethical Guide to Hacking Mobile Phones, Network Security, Google Hacking, Network Intrusions Alert, System Forensics, and many more.
Hello, I'm Ebenezer S. Montolo and I'm going to discuss the threat attacks and its functions. Rootkit Stuxnet Toolkits. Cybercriminals employ rootkit malware to take over a target computer or network. Rootkits, which provide hackers with administrative access to the target device, occasionally take the form of a single piece of software but are frequently composed of a number of tools. Keyloggers that secretly record your keystrokes can be hidden by rootkits. Stuxnet, a dangerous computer worm that was found in 2010 and is thought to have been under development since 2005, is one of the most infamous rootkits in the history. The Iranian nuclear program suffered severe harm as a result of Stuxnet. Scan for existing malware and stop installation of new programs are two steps of protecting your system against rootkits. Malware Flame. Flame, also referred as Flamer and Skywiper. It is a type of modular malware that targets machines running the Microsoft Windows operating system and was first identified in 2012. The program is employed in Middle Eastern nations for targeted cyber espionage. A local network or a USB stick are two ways that Flame can propagate to other PCs. It can capture network activity, audio, screenshots, keyboard actions, and screenshots. Mobile malware. Malicious software created expressly to target mobile platforms like smartphones, tablets, and smartwatches is known as mobile malware. These malware varieties rely on weaknesses in specific mobile operating systems and mobile phone hardware. Malware assaults on mobile devices most frequently involve viruses, worms, mobile bots, phishing scams, ransomware, spyware, and trojans. Some mobile malware combines multiple attack types. In 2017, 3.5% of malware attacks were committed using mobile devices, according to the March 2018 threat report from security software provider McAfee Labs. Although administrators can take proactive measures to limit assaults, anti-malware software for mobile devices can lower the dangers. Botnets, DDoS, spam, and click fraud. A botnet, sometimes known as a zombie army, is a collection of devices that have been hijacked and connected to the internet. Each of these devices has been infected with malware that allows its remote controllers to take control of it without owner's awareness. The DDoS, or distributed denial of service, assault is the most frequent type of botnet attack. In order to prevent a website or web server from properly servicing its actual visitors, the hacker will use the botnet to send an incredibly high volume of requests and/or traffic to those resources, hence denial of service. The easiest way to safeguard your website from botnet attacks and virus invasion is to invest in real-time anti-botnet detection software like Datadog. Bot cybercrime. A little piece of software called the bot automates web requests for a variety of purposes. Bot attack always refers to an attacker with a fraudulent intent, whereas bot attack can be used in both beneficial and detrimental ways. An automated web request is used in bot attack to trick, deceive, or otherwise interfere a website, application, API, or end users. Bot assaults began as straightforward spamming operation but have since developed into sophisticated global criminal organization with independent economies and infrastructures. The user must be able to recognize which online requests are bot assaults, respond appropriately to malicious requests, and present actionable free data in order to protect your web applications against bot attack.
How is the antivirus software connected to the polymorphic viruses and how it changed the approach in web security or cybersecurity? A polymorphic virus is a type of malicious, destructive, or intrusive malware that can change or morph, making it difficult to detect with anti-malware software. Malicious code can evolve in a variety of ways, including file name changes, compression, and encryption with variable keys. An example of polymorphic virus is the Stormworm, a particularly infamous polymorphic backdoor Trojan discovered in 2007. Could change its identity every 10 to 30 minutes. The rapidity of the change made it difficult for cybersecurity experts to eradicate the threat. Polymorphic malware can now change 3 to 4 times per minute. Signature-based hunting techniques are used by many antivirus suites. This method has difficulty locating something that can switch identities every few seconds. Some of the aforementioned security methods simply cannot keep up. Antivirus software is connected to the polymorphic viruses as it acts as a door to prevent the entry and execution of this kind of virus. Most traditional antivirus and threat detection products rely on signature-based detection, which polymorphic viruses can exploit. Newer security technologies, on the other hand, rely on machine learning and behavior-based analytics rather than signature detection. Machine learning algorithms are designed to detect abnormal behavior in unknown programs as well as the other static characteristics such as file names and API calls. Polymorphic malware necessitates a different security strategy than a traditional malware due to the constant changes in code. That's why it changed the approach in web security or cybersecurity. Businesses that use primitive defense methods are bound by legacy perimeter security protocols are more vulnerable than those that use modernized systems. However, any weaknesses in a network's defense is a target for hackers, and polymorphic viruses that gains access will evolve and spread if the right monitoring and detection tools are not in place to detect the activity. The best way to defend against polymorphic viruses is to use multiple layers of information security measures such as anti-malware software and threat detection. This program should be kept up to date and run frequently as possible. If available, auto protection features should be also enabled. Number 4. Further discuss and compare typical phishing attack to a spear phishing attack. Phishing is any attempt by an attacker to obtain sensitive information from a person through email, social media, or even phone calls. In the context of a business, these malicious individuals contact employees and request personal information, which can lead to access to company systems, processes, or data. These attacks are not targeted at specific individuals. Instead, they are mass-produced in the hope that at least one person will fall for the trap. Employees are frequently duped by these simple phishing attacks. In fact, according to Verizon's 2019 Data Breach Investigations report, 32% of breaches involve phishing. That is a difficult figure to grasp. Phishing is not a difficult or expensive tactic used by attackers. It is about casting a wide net and, as evidenced, it is successful in gaining access to private systems of companies. Spear phishing differs from traditional phishing in that it is targeted and personalized. Spear phishing sends customized messages to specific individuals. They devote more time and effort to gather personal information in order to create targeted attacks. For businesses, spear phishers typically pose as C-level executives or fellow employees. These malicious individuals' emails, phone calls, and messages usually have a sense of urgency in order to persuade victims to act quickly. Here are some tips to avoid phishing or spear phishing attack. Number 1. Examine your online profiles to see what personal information you post on social media or the internet. How much personal information is accessible to potential attackers? If you want a potential scammer to see something, don't post it, or at the very least, make sure you've configured privacy settings to limit what others can use or to see. Number 2. Use strong passwords. Do not use the same or similar passwords for all of your accounts. If you reuse passwords or use passwords variation, an attack has access to all of your accounts if they know one of your passwords. Every password you should use be unique. Passwords with random phrases, numbers, and letters are the most secure. Number 3. Update your software on a regular basis. If your software provider notifies you of a new update, install it right away. Most software systems include security software updates that should help protect you from common attacks. Enable automatic software updates whenever possible. Number 4. Do not click links in emails. If an organization such as your bank sends you a link, open your browser and navigate directly to the bank's website rather than clicking on the link itself. And number 5. When opening emails, use logic. If you receive an email from a friend asking for personal information such as your password, carefully check to see if their email address is one of you've seen them use before. Real businesses will never ask you for your username or password via email.
What is Tor in the deep web? What is the dark web and Tor? A question that many people ask and to which I will try to respond carefully and concisely. We're talking about the dangerous part of the web, where the special actions are taken, such as users who want to browse anonymously or others who want to do illegal things. If you want to explore this world, be very cautious because a simple antivirus or incognito browsing will not suffice. What is the Tor browser? Tor, short for the Onion Router, is an open source browser that allows you to browse the internet anonymously. It automatically deletes your browsing history after each session and encrypts all your traffic. It also allows you to access the dark web, which is comprised of hidden and unindexed websites on the internet. Some countries completely block Tor because of its ability to allow the access to the internet. The Tor network was originally created by the United States. The Navy will allow military organizations to communicate anonymously online. The military abandoned the project in 2006 and it has since been managed by a non-profit. The Tor project now primarily focuses on its browser and the development of a few other privacy tools which we'll discuss later. How does the Tor browser function? Tor aims to improve your online privacy and to a certain extent, security. Tor vast and global server network is used by the browser to hide your IP address and secure your connection. When you use the Tor browser, your data is routed through various Tor server or nodes. At each node, the traffic is heavily encrypted and then slowly decoded one layer at a time. This means that anyone attempting to identify you based on your online traffic will only come across the last server your data traffic passed through, aka Tor exit nodes. In other words, this browser makes identifying Tor user impossible, or at least extremely difficult. The Tor browser is superior to a standard web browser for anonymously web browsing. Is it illegal to use the Tor browser? The use of the Tor browser and any other Tor project software is completely legal in the most jurisdictions, particularly in countries with minimal censorship. Some Tor users, however, engage in illegal activities. The use of the Tor browser makes this activity no less illegal. As a result, we strongly advise you to avoid such practices.